What's happening, everybody? Got a different video for you today. So in the past, I've done recommendation videos for indie titles. I remember doing one specifically for that. And throughout various other videos, I have littered recommendations for bigger, like the mainstream Marvel and DC series. But today, I have a recommendation video based on characters. So I want to highlight some stories centered around specific characters, and this video was prompted by two viewers, so I want to give shout outs to both of them. First up, we have Drewski, who left this comment on my 600 subs sub celebration video. Love watching your videos, bro. I feel like I learn a lot just by watching your hauls. I learn more about certain characters in comics, which is something that I strive to do. You also introduced me to new variant covers and series that I've never even heard of before. One thing I'd like to see you do in the future is character recommendations. For example, if someone was interested in learning about Iron Man, maybe you can give recommendations of issues that you think are the best to read to find out more about the character. Keep up the great videos, bro. Thanks, I appreciate the comment and the support and viewing. So this video isn't going to be just one specific character as mentioned by Drewski's comment, but I wanted to shout him out because it definitely is related to that. What I want to do is give recommendations to a recent viewer who said who wants to get into comics, and her comment was, "Hi, I'm trying to get into comic books and was wondering if you have any comics that you can recommend." And you all know, if you've followed me for a while, you all know I'm full of them. I used to shout them out constantly on Twitter, always dropping recommendations for just all type of books across comics. And I do that on my channel, as I've already just said here. So I was like, oh, but one thing I always do whenever either online or just in person, like whenever someone is curious about comics and just wants to just explore comics more and learn more about comics, I always have to start with, who are you interested in? Either who are you interested in or what kind of stories, because I can definitely do some based on genre. So I always usually like to lead off with one of those questions, probably more likely with who, just because I can get an idea if they're talking about superhero characters. Like, okay, you know, I can definitely guide you down that way based on who you like, just different titles. And then, so she responded with Harley Quinn, Joker, Catwoman, Supergirl. I like pretty much Marvel and DC characters, and I can absolutely do that for you. So that's what we're here to do. So Samantha Garcia, thank you for your comment. Thank you for checking out the channel. And as I said, I wanted to dedicate this one specifically to her as just someone who wants to get into comics, because we all love comics, and comics should always be welcoming and open to anybody trying to get in, no matter how you want to do comics, in single format, trades, digital, whatever. As long as you want to read comics, hey, that's what we're here for. So we're going to jump right into it. We're going to start with Joker and Harley Quinn, because those are honestly the two characters that I've read the least of. I've read more Joker than Harley Quinn. So I actually kind of bunched them together when I was just thinking about different titles. So, and I will also give you the absolute disclaimer that I don't actually care about Harley Quinn that much. She's never interested me. She's kind of gone the route of Deadpool too, another character who I don't care that much about. I'm only interested in him in small doses, as when he was part of Uncanny X-Force and Thunderbolts. That Deadpool I can get down with because it's a small doses and he's not the center of attention. So same with Harley, probably less with Harley because the character still just doesn't appeal to me as much, and she's just kind of blown up all over the place. But I actually want to do that for you. If you're interested in Harley Quinn, that's what we can do. We can help you. So comic book community, let's do this. So I want you to start off with this. Also, at the end of this, or even just at any point while you're watching this, in the comments below, drop your own recommendations for any of these titles, any of these characters. If you have any cool titles or stories that you can recommend for her, definitely just drop them in. Again, we're all helpful and open in the comic book community, as we should be. So that's what we're here for, just inspired to love comics. So let's do this. So Harley Quinn. There is this one title that actually just dropped a recent issue. It's Joker, Harley, Criminal Sanity, which is, I don't know how long it's going for, but it is a interesting take based on what I read. I haven't read it yet. Just reading the different synopsis on it, and it's kind of a different take on both of these characters. Joker's a serial killer. Harley's young in her criminal pathologist career, and so she's part of this case, and does take place in Gotham. Gordon's working for GCPD, and it's just based on what I read on it, it's actually kind of cool. So this one you might want to check out, as it is a current series, so it's easy to just jump right into and catch up on. You should be able to find all of those, and I will also guide you to the DC Comics app as well as the Marvel one too, and then the Comixology. You can get the full spectrum of all of these. But Joker, Harley, Criminal Sanity, and then there's also Joker, Harley, Criminal Sanity, Secret Files #1. This is just a one-shot, kind of in that same thing, but it kind of goes into a little more with Harley, centered more on Harley. I don't know where it falls within the whole series that they're going for. I imagine Criminal Sanity is just going to be a mini series. Again, I don't know how long it is, but it is still early in it, so you can absolutely just jump on and catch on to that. Next up, these ones are going to be more towards Joker, but also before I get into the Joker ones, Harley, the most obvious thing for Harley is because she's so popular, she's had tons of series out there, so you can absolutely just check out Harley. You can even check in the description, the mycomicshop.com link I have down there, and you can just go look through, just search Harley Quinn, and you will see all of her series. The series that she has been in recently will be ending at 75, I believe, issue 75. But there are tons of trades out there from, a couple decades now of different Harley stories. So if that is your best bet for Harley, you can absolutely just go search and you will find plenty of Harley content out there. And she's even been kind of intertwined with Birds of Prey as of late. So there's a Harley and Birds of Prey, or just a Birds of Prey, like a one-shot Black Label book, I believe, with Harley as part of Birds of Prey. So you can go check that out as well. Now with Joker, plenty of Joker stuff out there. And one of the big stories that you're going to hear is Batman: The Killing Joke. So you got Batman, Joker, Jim Gordon. I was going to say James sometimes, but Gordon, and then Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, is her kind of pathway to becoming Oracle, which she was for a while. But this one is kind of those it's a darker story. It's one they made an animated movie off of, which had the story is kind of controversial. Everyone's mileage will vary on this story. I only read it once, maybe twice, and I was like, all right, it was okay. But again, my Joker isn't my favorite Batman villain anyway. Riddler is. So I'm like, all right, so a lot of Joker stories just kind of missed the mark with me, but that's just me personally. Another one that you might be interested in, which would be pretty cool. I like this one. I didn't read all of it at the time, but I did read a chunk of it for the titles that I was reading. Batman: Death of the Family, which is just a play on the title Batman: Death in the Family, where the Robin got killed in the 90s and all that good stuff. But this one is part of the New 52 from 2011. Batman: Death of the Family ran through all of these different titles. I believe it was 23 issues. Batman, Detective Comics, Batgirl, Nightwing. I think there was a Batman and Robin title at the same time as well. And yeah, it said Nightwing. I don't know if Robin had a solo title though. But it ran through all of these issues. It had all these cool die-cut covers. It was like half the title and then half of Joker's face kind of cut off. It was kind of interesting. It was kind of cool, but a cool story. It was about Joker hitting back at everyone that Batman has relied on over the years. So that's why it ran through all these different titles. And that one I think that was pretty well received by much of the comic book community. So that one, and I don't even know if you could even find one that's collected just from everything there, all those titles. There possibly are. You have to look that up. But that's Batman: Death of the Family. Now, so that'll wrap it up for Joker and Harley. Now we get on to Catwoman. Now this is a character I absolutely care more about, and I've just enjoyed her stories, some solo runs that she's had, as well as her appearances in Batman and Detective Comics and other stories. But she's also a part of Gotham City Sirens, which was a series that ran for, I don't even know how long it was, but that was her, Harley, and Poison Ivy. So that's another one you may potentially want to check out as well. But specifically for Catwoman, I will recommend her Volume 3 series, which started in 2002. This was led out by Darwin Cook. And this one ran for a few years. I want to say it got into the 80s, issue 80s. But this one just had a cool run. I think this was probably prime Catwoman. And it also introduced one of my favorite looks for her, which was just the full black suit with the goggles, which I absolutely love, that Jim Lee kind of helped design. If you just Google Catwoman goggles, you'll see this. I absolutely love that look. It's my favorite Catwoman look design, and one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite DC designs based on like the entire character roster. But this one, I just recommend the whole series, but you can absolutely just go check out different runs and different trades. It's all been collected, so you can absolutely just go find some. And we got Darwin Cook, rest in peace, who was pivotal in the early run of this. And then there's a bunch of Adam Hughes covers later on. If you don't know who that is, fantastic artist. He did a bunch of covers for later in this run. And Ed Brubaker was part of this, who's a fantastic writer as well. So there was a lot of cool creators who had a hand in shaping this Catwoman series. So this one will absolutely get a strong recommendation from me. And then next up we have the current Catwoman run, which is right around issue 22 or 23. We had Joelle Jones on this one, and even right now they just recently introduced a new character. So there's a whole lot going on in this one. Some cool covers, some fantastic art. Again, I started with this one because Joelle Jones is one of my favorite creators out right now, and she opened up this run, and there's been several creators on throughout it, but this one it was just dope. Part of the Rebirth run, it came along a little bit later, so this one started in 2018. But since it's current, you can absolutely jump into it right now. We got a new character, as I just said, who just been introduced a couple issues ago, and I think I said 22, but they're actually up to like 25 or 26. So it's just completely mistaken right there. But that's Catwoman. So 2 strong Catwoman runs right there, and again, as well as Gotham City Sirens, which you could also might want to check out just for just a little, like a small team dynamic there. And of course, you remember what I mentioned in the early part of this video, so I had to save the best for last. My homegirl, Supergirl. You know, when I saw that she left the Supergirl comment, I was like, oh yeah, I have to drop some, but I'm gonna rein it in. I'm gonna keep it under control. I'm just gonna drop a whole bunch, just give you a small dose of some Supergirl action. And I'll actually start off with one I just talked about in my recent reads video from last week, which you all should go check out if you haven't watched that. So Supergirl Being Super. Now this one is a 4-part kind of prestige, I guess you could say prestige format type of book. It is definitely absolutely in the style of the Black Label books, but this was before Black Label had a name. So it's just the same exact style, but it just didn't have the Black Label yet because that didn't exist yet. This is from 2016. This 4-part series was a reimagining of Supergirl's origin story. So her early life, her high school years with her adopted family and her best friends, and her early dealings with a Kryptonian that was being held and tortured by some scientists in town as they were trying to harvest and use his Kryptonian, like, I don't even know, just his powers and use him and find a way to use him as a sustainable energy source for the Earth, and just the efforts for that, and how Supergirl kind of reeling from the loss of one of her best friends. That does happen early, so there's a bit of a spoiler, I guess. But it's just her and her best friend and her adopted family, and her in the town as well, kind of progressing through this. She deals with some issues with her powers throughout the series, and just her just kind of coming to grips and dealing with this other Kryptonian, and kind of just having someone from a familiar background as her. So that's Supergirl Being Super. Again, it's a 4-part series. It's been collected a couple different times and even re-released this year. So you can find it with a couple different covers here. This one is just one of the ones that was published. So that's Supergirl Being Super, the 4-part series reimagining of Supergirl's origins. Next up is Superman, Batman, Supergirl from 2006. Now this one is just a collected trade from the Superman Batman series. It collects issues, I think it's 8 through 13. So this was Supergirl's reintroduction into the DCU. She'd been away since whatever crisis happened that she died in. I think it was it was an Infinite Crisis. I just get all those damn crises mixed up. But I believe it was Infinite Crisis. So this is her. They're bringing her back, and this was actually the inspiration for one of the DC animated DCAU movies, which was Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. So it was, we got Darkseid here, Apocalypse, Supergirl's reintroduction, and this was actually pretty cool, at least for the animated movie. So they had, similar to the previous movie Public Enemies. They used they kind of adapted the same art style from the comics. We have Michael Turner on this, Peter Steigerwald, and they just kind of adapted that visual look for it, which it looked pretty cool. I liked when they did that for both of those movies, Public Enemies and Apocalypse. But Superman, Batman, Supergirl is pretty dope because you got both. Obviously you get a bit of Superman and Batman here, like their team up, but just kind of reintroducing Supergirl. And that's why I kind of said it after being Super, because even though that one came later, it almost kind of follows like a pseudo chronological order, because that's her origin, her reimagining of her origin, and this one is her reintroduction into the universe after being gone for so long. But I thought this was just a dope story. This animated movie was cool as well. So if you get a chance to find a way to watch that, I recommend that as well. And yeah, this one was her precursor to her series, which I won't talk about here, but you can definitely look that up. That one ran, I think, 67 issues. So that was pretty cool as well. Tons of dope creators on that one. Pretty cool stories. But that was Superman, Batman, Supergirl from 2006. And last up, one of my favorite runs, Supergirl from the New 52. Now this is from 2011. The New 52 was another of DC's kind of restarting points. So restarting the universe and everybody get fresh new number ones. It was this whole big thing, 52 titles out there and all these different titles. Everybody's world started over except for Batman's, who I believe was taking place 5 years after he'd become Batman. But we got Supergirl here, and what I like about this series, besides just having a cool story, it introduced me to the artist Mahmoud Asrar, who I've been following along. He jumped over to Marvel, did some X-Men stuff, and he's done plenty other titles since then. But yeah, he was absolute champ on this series. Just great visual flair, and I love the way he depicted Kara in her New 52 costume. It was just a cool look, and it has pretty cool stories here. So this is similar to the Catwoman run, where I just recommend the whole run. You can absolutely just start from the beginning. And this one ran what, 40 issues? Was it 40 issues? I don't even remember now. But I don't know if it quite made 52. But I absolutely recommend this one, and you can find all of them collected again. But yeah, so this was Supergirl and her reimagining of this. The only thing I don't like in it was, one of the things I didn't like was Lobo, because I never liked Lobo, and his kind of New 52 look was even worse than just old Lobo. So that one was absolutely just kind of a stakeout point that I didn't care for. But otherwise, Supergirl, New 52, just a good run. And previous to her other runs, lots of Supergirl stuff here. I could absolutely talk Supergirl all day, because from her solo run in Adventure Comics, and she had several the early miniseries and several other ongoing runs from the 90s, 96, and then the 2006, 2011, to the current one that just got canceled at 42. So plenty of Supergirl out there. And yeah, so that'll do it for Supergirl. So I hope this helps you. As I said in my comment to you and earlier in this video, once you said that you were just trying to get into comics, I figured, you know what? We're going to do it big. Comics is welcoming. Welcome to the YouTube comic community. Welcome to the world of comics. This is a great place. Tons of cool stories out there, creators, characters, just all type of fantastic stuff to pique your imagination and pique your interest. So I hope this helps you and kind of introduces you to some cool stuff and some cool stories. I hope you can find some stuff that you like, and I hope some of these will kind of just help you and just expand your world and just help you get into comics. I just want to do something cool and just something fun, and shout out to Drewski and you, Samantha Garcia. So yeah, that's that. Happy reading, happy hunting, happy collecting. Go read some comics, enjoy yourselves. This is Geno the Dragon. Thanks for watching, and peace out.